Okay. So a couple of my notes on allowing yourself to feel love, which is the tapping that we're going to do tonight. There's so much evidence out there that people love you and that people want to support you, and be looking for evidence of that. If you look for evidence of victimhood, or you look for evidence that nobody loves you or that you're unlovable, you will find it. And if you are looking for evidence of love and of support, you will find that too. So we find what we are looking for. And if you are predisposed to pessimism, or if you're predisposed to negativity, you're going to find evidence of that negativity. But if you start to rewire your brain towards people loving you and people accepting you and people being willing to support you, then you're going to find evidence of that too. So let's talk a little bit about tapping and what tapping is. If you're not familiar with tapping, I'm talking about the emotional freedom technique, which is a combination of acupressure and positive psychology and neuro-linguistic programming. Basically, at the heart and at the surface of what tapping can do is that it halts the fight or flight response of the amygdala. It lowers cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. It can make us feel calmer. It can make us feel more at peace and able to make better decisions from a better state of mind. And that's just the surface of what tapping can do. And it can be tweaked to tap on all different subjects. So tonight's episode, we're going to be doing the mini tapping that I basically did after Gala Darling did her tapping for her membership site for group tapping. Now, I am a member of that membership site, and I am also a certified EFT tapping practitioner through her program, the Gala Darling Method. I was one of the first classes to go through that program. And that happened February through April of 2022. So this was last year that I got my tapping certification. I don't have tarot certification, and I don't have that for a number of reasons, which I'm not going to go into right now because it is long and fraught with different opinions. Tarot certification is a very hot button topic. But I know that I've never once, when working with a client, not one client has ever asked me what my credentials are for tarot. I certainly do have them. I've attended a number of conferences, and I've definitely studied tarot for a very long time. But I've been reading for 26 years, and I've been reading professionally for 18 of those years. So I feel like that speaks for itself if someone was ever to ask me what my credentials are. But no, I am not tarot certified in any one particular program or ideology, because no, I'm too much of a free spirit to ever really do that. But I am tapping certified through the Gala Darling Method. So that's in a nutshell what tapping is. It's basically you tap on points. You speak aloud what the aspects of the issue are, and through that you move through the issue that you're trying to work on or you're trying to heal. Tapping was originally developed for veterans with complex or regular PTSD, but I never think that there is a form of regular PTSD. All PTSD can be complex to my mind. But that was originally what tapping was developed for veterans with PTSD. And then they found so many more applications for tapping. So, and you can I have yet to find an issue that can't be tapped on. So any questions about tapping before we begin? I'm going to tell you a little bit about the tapping points. I'll show you the tapping points, but all you really need to know is follow along with me, tap on the points that I do, and then repeat after me out loud. And we're probably going to have some water beforehand, and we're probably going to have some water after. And some of you who have been watching this live stream for a very long time, you know what tapping's about because we've done a couple of tappings on this live stream before. So I'm gonna drink some water. While I drink some water, you can feel free to drink some water as well. Good question. So Fran has a question. Does it matter what hand? No, does not matter what hand. Most of the time, it's dominant to non-dominant. So for sleight of hand, so I'm just going to go through the points, but the answer is no. So I usually do dominant hand to non-dominant hand for sleight of hand point. This is formerly called the karate chop point, but now we have matured in our language, and we know that language and what things are called is important. So we don't call it that anymore. It is sleight of hand. So it's the fleshy bit on the outside of your hand. So this is the first point, and you can tap, you don't have to like abuse yourself. You just tap with enough pressure, as if you were tapping someone's shoulder in a loud concert to get their attention. That's about the pressure you would need. So that's sleight of hands. And this is where we tune into the issue. So sometimes for some tapping videos or protocols or scripts, you may not use this at all. But in this particular one, I did tune in using sleight of hand. So that's sleight of hand. And to answer Fran's question, does it matter which hand? No. You can do it this way too. And sometimes I'll alternate. Just depends. Now, when we go through the tapping points, the way I've been instructed by Gala and the way Gala likes to tap is she called it originally power tapping, but she uses both hands. Now, you don't have to use both hands. It's just as effective with one hand, and you'll see a lot of practitioners doing it one-handed. I see that Veronica has a question. I'm gonna answer that one. So you can use one hand, it doesn't matter which hand, or you can use two hands, it doesn't matter which hand. And if you have large tracts of land like me, you can always tap on the underarm point with the same arm or the same hand. So let me quickly run through the points, and then I'm going to answer your question, Veronica. So crown of the head, start of the eyebrows, temples or side of eye, more side of eye than temples, honestly. Try and get as close to the corners of your eye, outside of your eyes as possible without, blinding yourself, but you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference. Under the eye, so kind of the bone right there. Under the nose, so you can either do one finger here or you can do two fingers here. Under the mouth and above the chin, so this little dimple right here. Collarbone. You can either do it this, or this. Under the arm, like where your bra strap hits, or you can do across like this, and then wrist to wrist together. That is the tapping points that I learned from Gala Darling through the Gala Darling method. You may see other tapping practitioners that may start on eyebrows, not even do wrist to wrist together, and then end at crown of head. It's really, if you miss a point, it's not a big deal. And you can't really do it wrong. It's very forgiving in that way. So those are the tapping points. And as you go through it, I'm going to continue to, I'm doing it with you, so you'll kind of get the hang of it. All right, to answer Veronica's question, I feel squirmy. just reading the topic of the stream. If I get emotional while tapping, is that a sign things are going well or that I should stop? It's a sign that it's working. So thank you for asking this question, because that is a release. So that is a sign that the tapping is working. So some common releases that happen with tapping, or signs that you know that the tapping is working or is effective, is getting emotional, tearing up, crying, yawning, hiccuping, burping, farting. Any kind of releases that happen on the massage table, if you're getting a massage, that is also a sign. If it happens during tapping, that's a release. Eyes watering too. That's also a sign of getting emotional while tapping. That's a sign of resistance too. And usually the more important the thing to tap on, or the more necessary the tapping is, the more resistant you're going to feel. I'm going to keep this comment on screen while I go get my prayer book, basically, my guidebook from the Gala Darling Method, because I want to talk to you about resistance before we get started. Because this is the reason why I'm doing the tapping for this week's episode of the Tarot by Hillary live stream. Because when I did this tapping, before I started doing the mini tapping, I was just like, oh, I don't need this tapping. Like as I was going through it, like I was about to start the tapping, like following along with Gala and with everybody else that was on the Zoom call on Sunday. I'm just like, I don't really need this tapping. Like, this is not a topic that really is resonating with me. Oh boy. Once I started tapping, Veronica, I felt the same way as you. I felt squirmy. I felt emotional. I started crying. I'm just like, oh my God. Okay, I am not accepting of love. I could be way more accepting of love. And the big realization that I felt, that you may notice in the words that I say during the tapping, I realized that love sometimes is about vulnerability. And it sometimes means, like, my realization was, of course, some people don't love me because I have not allowed them to know me. And if they don't know me, how can they love me? Of course, they don't love me. I haven't allowed them to know me authentically. Because once people get to know me, they love me. That was my big realization. Maybe your realization might be something different. And I would encourage you to keep water handy, and also to keep a notebook handy, and to be specific about what's coming up for you in the tapping. Add to the words that I'm saying. If something else comes up for you that's very personal to you, the more specific you are when you're tapping, the more effective the tapping can be. So hold that thought. I'm going to go grab the book. Gala Darling Method. Notice at the top, I deeply and complete love and accept and forgive myself, which is a phrase that you're going to hear a lot in tapping. It's one of like the golden phrases of tapping. Let me see if I'm already, yep. My bookmark, which is my business card. Releasing resistance. It's right here. I talk about resistance a lot with my tarot clients, a lot with my tapping clients. The more important a call or action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel toward pursuing it. It's a quote from Stephen Pressfield, who wrote the War of Art and Do the Work. Great books, by the way. Resistance is a sneaky little devil, and it pops up much more often than we think. Signs of resistance include, but are not limited to, not wanting to tap in the first place, forgetting what you're talking about while you're tapping, basically disassociating, getting distracted by something else in the room, feeling a deep urge to do almost anything else. Veronica, is that you right now? Zoning out or feeling dissociated. How to break through resistance. So we may want to use some of these phrases. Tap on, even though I'm feeling massive resistance, I deeply love and accept and forgive myself, or however you're feeling. Recognize that it is your subconscious trying to keep you safe. Your subconscious is very, very smart, folks. Don't punish yourself for feeling resistance, and remember that it's normal. It's very normal. Tell yourself the size of this resistance is showing me how beautiful the change will be on the other side. Yeah, the War of Art. If you want to know more about resistance, War of Art by Stephen Pressfield is a really good one. But yeah, it happens all the time, all of the time. And maybe, Veronica, maybe right now, don't do the tapping. Don't do this tapping. You have my permission to not do this tapping if you're feeling really triggered by it. But I would encourage you, especially if you're saying, I am 99% resistance. But I would recommend tapping on the resistance itself. Even though I am feeling massive resistance to this topic that Hillary wants to tap on, I love and accept and I forgive myself. Oh, I forgive myself that I would rather be doing anything else than this tapping. I forgive myself being a little bit of a chicken shit about it, because that is entirely normal to not want to do this thing. I don't know what's going to come up from that tapping. Therefore, I don't want to tap on it at all. Notice that I'm yawning a little bit here. Even though I'm feeling this resistance, this massive resistance, I love and I accept and I forgive myself. It is easier to think that I am just unlovable than to think I am lovable or worthy of love. It is easier to be resistant than to be open and vulnerable. It is easier to put up my walls than to take them down. Or whatever else may be coming up for you. Ooh, I'm like tingly. Ooh, okay. Katie says, I've yawned 3 times already as soon as you started. Exactly. So, Veronica, I would say put a pin in this. You can certainly watch. You don't have to tap. And this is true for everyone that's watching right now, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. If you feel like you're not ready to tap on this yet, I get it. I understand. Walk away from it for a little bit. But I would ask yourself, and I would journal on this, why am I so resistant to tapping on this? Why am I so resistant to tapping at all? And maybe you want to choose something easier. Choose something easier to tap on. Sometimes it's about gaining that confidence or gaining that bravery, to tap on the big things. We got to tap on the little things before we tackle the big things. So you have my permission to not tap on this. But I would say, if I get emotional, is it a sign that things are going well? Yes, it's a sign that the tapping is working. But only you can determine when you're ready. And sometimes you will never feel ready to do something. And now that I've scared everybody, are we ready to tap? So I'm going to make this window a little bit smaller so that I can look at my notes. Nice. All right. Veronica says, I'm ready to give it a try. Awesome, Veronica. You're a trooper. Fran says, tap, tap, taparoo. All right, let's go. All right, so drink a little bit of water. Yep. And tap on that too, Katie. The more scared I am, the more scared I am, the more I challenge myself to do it. It means I obviously need to do it. That's how I think about it too. So first, I want y'all, drink your water. If you have your water handy, drink it. I will warn you though, sometimes the releases happen very, very quickly, and sometimes they are extreme in nature. Like there was one time that I was on High Vibe Honey when I was on like the group tapping, and I wasn't even involved in it. I was just a participant. It was so strong that I ended up having to go to the bathroom. And I'm not going to be gross about it, but and it was like so immediate. And usually what happens after the group tapping is there's like honey hive where we all like get put into different rooms of like 3 to 4 people, and we just discuss the different topic that we tapped on. And I was just like, I love you all. I really want to talk, but I have to go to the bathroom. I have to heed nature's call because it is extreme. So releases can happen that way too. So prepare yourselves. All right. Yes. Tissues too. Water ready. Tissues ready. All right. Water. Good. Good. Okay. And I'll be monitoring the chat as well, but after side of hand. I'm going to be using the words that I used this past Sunday that were very effective, but I may go with where I'm feeling too. So, and remember, this is a mini tapping. And if you want to work with me on your own issues, if you want to tap with me and have me guide you through some of this, you can work with me at tarotbyhillary.com. I do have tapping sessions available too. All right, side of hand. Let's go. Even though I am feeling really resistant to accepting love, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. I acknowledge that a part of me wants to put up a barrier. I put up barriers because it's safe or it feels safer. But I'm ready to surrender those barriers now. I am ready to let love take over in whatever form it's ready to come to me right now. Being vulnerable is a superpower. And I'm ready to tap into that superpower. I am ready to start to forgive anyone in my life that's told me it's not safe to be vulnerable with them. Maybe they weren't taught how to love. Maybe I'm their unwitting teacher. Maybe they weren't taught how to love. Maybe they were taught that love isn't safe, or that it's a trap, or that it's risk. And maybe I am their unwitting teacher. I am ready to start accepting love in all of its forms. I am ready to let down my guard and let love in. Even though it feels really, really, really unsafe. Even though I would rather do anything else. I'm ready to let love in. I'm ready to let love in. I'm ready to be loved. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And let it go. Ooh, burpee. All right. Checking in. How is everybody feeling? What came up for you, if anything? Guilt. All right. If you want to tell us more about that, Fran, or less, or if you know what the guilt's about, then feel free to add that into whatever it is I say on the main rounds. Katie's not ready. Katie's not ready, LOL. And if you disagree with what I'm saying when I'm tapping, you could rephrase it. In fact, I encourage you to rephrase it. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to let love in. I want to be ready, but I'm not ready. I want to be ready, but I'm not ready. I want to be ready, but I'm not ready. I want to be ready, but I'm not ready. Or however many iterations you need to do. Okay. Just guilt for being a cast iron, ... But remember, that's a defense mechanism. That's a security blanket. Your past self is incredibly smart. And that's part of tapping too, is recognizing the defense mechanisms, the subconscious patterns. That's coming from a very smart place. You have learned. That's a learned behavior. That's protection. But if you're willing to start releasing it, or willing to entertain the prospect of not being cast iron bitch, or acknowledging it, there's hope for you to be able to put that armor down, you know? Yeah. Which is why I'm doing the tapping. Exactly what you said, Hillary. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I want to be ready, but I'm not ready. All right. Anything else come up? Especially Veronica. Veronica, did we lose you? Did you try? And sometimes I use that in the words as well to personalize it. Even though I'm not ready to accept love, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. I accept that I am not ready, but I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I'm willing to dip my toe into the possibility of being ready to be accepting of love. Okay. Yes, I yawned a lot and cried a little. Okay. Well, I mean, I will warn all of you that the feedback that I got from everyone after Gala's tapping and then my tapping was Gala made me blank and Hillary made me ball. Which is like the 1-2 punch. I can't remember exactly what she said. But I did save, where is it? I need to find it because I did save the feedback that I got in the chat. Here it is. Yes. Yeah. Gala had me yawning and Hillary had me bawling. So it's a powerful one. It's hard. Now that I've said that, and now that you've thought about it, are we ready for the main tapping? Because that's just the tuning in. We're tuned in. We're tuned into this topic. All right. All right. Man, I don't want to do this either. I'm looking at my notes and I'm just like, I don't want to do this either. I don't want to do it either. All right. All right. Drink a little bit more water. You're probably going to need to pee something fierce afterwards. Drink a little bit of your iced coffee if you have it. All right. Rub your hands together. Shake your head. Release your neck. Starting at the top of the head. Tap on the points that I do and repeat after me. I am ready to be soft. I am ready to be pliable and flexible. I am ready to let love start working through me. And maybe love has been hard for me in the past. But today I am ready to let it be easy. I am ready for people to love me. Because those people that don't love me, they probably don't know me. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe I haven't allowed anyone to get to know the real me. Maybe I have put up walls or been a cast iron bitch to protect my heart. But I'm ready for that to stop. Here I am, ready to let love in. Ready to be deeply and authentically known. Even the parts of me that may be unlovable, because it's not up to me to decide what parts are unlovable or not. So even though in the past, it's been hard for me to accept love, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. I am ready to take that defense mechanism down. In a burst of smoke and fire and pink glitter or whatever the fuck else I want to envision. And after the rubble clears, emerge as a new me. Ready for lasting love. Platonic or sensual or passionate or friendship. It It doesn't matter to me. I am ready for love. I am ready for love. I am ready to be embraced by the world and be 100% me. I am ready to start being ready. I understand my past self was so smart to put up walls. But I'm ready for those walls to come a-tumbling down. I am ready to accept love. Take a deep breath in. Hold it and breathe into your heart chakra. And breathe into your heart chakra. And let it all go. And gurgle. How is everybody feeling? Mm-hmm. This felt a lot like lying. Okay. So, Veronica, I would suggest journaling on these concepts and work more on sleight of hand and tuning in and talking to yourself about the concepts of love and being accepting of love. And you may need to do a little bit more on the front end to start to believe the back end of I am ready for love. Because this is a mini tapping. So it can only do, a little bit. It can only do so much. And the needle may move slightly, or it may feel that you're lying to yourself about it because you may not be ready for the things that you're saying you're ready for. So a part of tapping is leaning into how you feel right now, and then talking yourself through while tapping on how you want to feel. And this is something that you can go deeper with a tapping practitioner like myself, to really work on your specific issues. So there's only so much that a general tapping like this can do, but I would encourage you to do some journaling. And also I would encourage you to take a look through some of the EFT tapping videos that I have on my YouTube channel. They're not all by me. In fact, a lot of them are by Gala Darling. There's some by Tap Into Magic. There is some by Brad Yates. There's some by Danny Lent as well. And see who speaks to you and who appeals to you and which topics they've tapped on that is around this concept. Because you may find that I'm not the right tapping practitioner for you. But the beauty of tapping is that you will find someone that is your vibe and can work specifically on what you're working on. Fran said, good, got some insight. Cool. Yep. Katie says, suddenly very tired, lots and lots of yawning. And then with tapping, I would always suggest after tapping, giving your body what it's asking for, giving your body what it needs. And so you may feel like a lot of stuff was moved through tapping, and you may feel like you want to sleep, and that is completely fine. I encourage you to stay hydrated, get lots of hydration, lots of water, and go to bed early if you can, or take a nap. I know that you're in a different time zone, and I know right now probably might not be the right time for you to go and take a nap, but maybe it is. Who knows? And yeah, Kay is saying, yes, some phrases hit more than others. You're never going to be able to get 100% hits on the phrases, but some of the phrases that do hit, when they hit, whoo! The phrase love and accept myself can be one of the most difficult. Absolutely. And that's why it's one of the golden phrases. We usually go right back to that. And that's hard for people too. Hold, please. There's like a list that I think I wrote down, or there's one that was in here about like, what phrases can I say other than I love and I accept and I forgive myself? Because I'm not there yet. I don't think I love and I accept and I forgive myself. So what other phrases can I say? I don't know. The key phrase, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. Work in love, acceptance, and forgiveness of those who have impacted the issue, and flirt with the opposite belief. And where is it here? Yeah, always hydrate. Yeah, I can't remember what the list was, but there was definitely a list of like, if you can't manage to get to love and accept and forgive myself, there's other phrases that you can use. Oh, that's awesome. So Fran's referencing last week's mid-episode reading about her dream. I think I remember where I left my boarding pass. Whoo! Good. Okay. All right. And if you're not familiar with what we're talking about, you just have to go back to last week's episode. I'm not going to explain it. All right. Any other questions? Because the thing that came up the most for me for this particular tapping was there are so many people that love and want to support you. And the phrase that really got me, and the phrase that I incorporated into my tapping, so it's not something that Gala said in her tapping. This tapping that I brought you through, this little mini tapping, was all 100% me. But the part that came up for me that I then incorporated into my mini tapping that I shared with the rest of the group and with you tonight was the people that I'm ready for people to love me, because those people that don't love me, they probably don't know me, and maybe that's my fault. I'm like, oh shit. Like, okay, that is something that I never considered. That was my big aha. And that'll happen with tapping, and just remembering that'll happen. And then when you're tapping, if you're doing it, if you're following along with someone's video, or you're like, or if you are a tapping practitioner, you're leading somebody else through a tapping, those are the kind of things that I look for. And then I double down on those things. Especially when, yeah. Yeah. Mine too. That's part of the hard part about doing a group tapping like this, is that I can't see you. I can't see your reactions. I can't see when you're yawning. I can't see when your eyes are watering. I can't see when you're hiccuping or crying or laughing. I can't see any of that. So because I can't see that, I then can't know what's hitting you at a particular time, and then I can't follow it down. So when I was doing the tapping for the High Vibe Honey members, this was over Zoom, and a lot of people had their cameras on, but their microphones muted. So I could see when people were yawning, so I could see the releases happening. And that is what I've been taught as a tapping practitioner, to follow down those releases, to know, oh, okay, this is working. This phrase on this point is working. Let's continue along those lines. Because group tapping and one-on-one tapping are two very, very different things. And one-on-one tapping, we can get so much more specific. And I usually will spend a lot of time in the investigative process of the issue that you're working on, and then I'll ask questions about those issues. And I will go deep, not to traumatize you or re-traumatize you, but to get to the root of the issue. Because sometimes it's not the issue that you think you want to tap on that ends up being the thing that you tap on. If people want examples of that, let me know. We also do have people that are in this group watching this video that I have done specific tappings with. So I may not be describing it entirely thoroughly, but let's see. I have experienced tapping, being guided by a tapping practitioner, and then I have also been the tapping practitioner providing the tapping. And then I do have a couple of videos up on my YouTube channel about different topics. And I plan on adding at least 2 more tapping videos in the next 2 weeks. One of which I believe is going to be a tapping on healing first impressions that went wrong. And the other one may be on, I think, perfectionism, but I may have already done that. I'm not quite sure. So if you're interested in tapping and you're interested in, if there's a particular issue that you want to tap on, you can either book me for a tapping session, tarotbyhillary.com, or let me know what issue you want to tap on. And if it's appealing to the general masses, I might produce a video on it. Katie says, I was thinking that being open to love and yet having good boundaries is something that would give more confidence to being open to love. Yeah. Yeah. And actually I did a tapping on boundaries. I did a tapping on boundaries, and I don't necessarily know if part of that was in there, but it's a good part. It's definitely a good part, and it should be in there. All right. Well, thank you all for participating in the tapping. I know it was hard for some of you. There was a lot of reluctance, actually, from the High Vibe Honey group originally when doing this tapping, both versions of it, both Gala's and mine. But the closer you are to the issue and the more resistance that you're feeling on tapping on that issue, the more important it probably is to do that exact thing. Do the thing. Do the thing. Yeah. Also accepting that there are things people won't like about us. Right. And oftentimes the things that people don't like about us are the things that we cannot control, Oof. That's a real doozy, isn't it?